Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Soul Podcasting Podcast. Today's guest that I have with me is awesome. He's going to be sharing so much about podcasting and about his background in branding, and everything that he's sharing today is going to help us as podcasters. So his name is Dennis Meador, and he first started a company at 14 years old. So we're going to go back and hear a little bit of your story, but he's also been an entrepreneur for most of his life, and he specializes in helping attorneys establish their expertise and authority online. So welcome, Dennis.
Thank you very much. Feel free to call me DM, Demetria, but if Dennis keeps coming, but either way works for you.
All right, DM, let's go with that. Okay, so now I am just interested in how you got into podcasting. This is a show about podcasting for podcasters, and I always love to know your journey. Like, how did you kind of weave your way into this podcasting space? What got you started, interested in it? And then how did you start helping attorneys get into podcasting?
Absolutely. So I lived in Austin for about 10 years, and I'd been there for a few years and was at a place in my life. I was going out, like I was one of those people, like first people to start like a food only Instagram. So kind of got like, that like early 14, 15, 16, when everyone didn't walk up to a trailer and go, I have 3,000 followers, give me free food, kind of like influencer reputation that's out there now. But back when I was doing it, they invited us to dinners. There's about 15 of us. We all got to know each other. It was kind of a little nice community that I got to be a part of. Mm-hmm. And kind of segued that over a period of a few years to where in 2019, I actually launched a podcast called ATX-AF. And it was about food, music, life. I interviewed musicians, entrepreneurs, chefs. Basically, the premise of the show was, I thought everyone said Austin was cool. Let's show them how cool it is.
Cool.
And I had about I had a crew of about 10 people. We would shoot on site. And I think I did about 60 episodes in 3 months, spent six figures, spent a little over six figures on it. Didn't make a dime off of it. I was okay because what I learned was production value makes all the difference in the world. So kind of took that mind frame because I wasn't the only, Austin podcast, but I went from who is that guy to you don't know who that guy is in just a short amount of time because all the top people wanted to come and be on my show because like I said, I had a 4K camera in 2019 shooting. So, I had 2 sound people. I had, we had food brought in. I mean, we made it a whole thing where it was an experience for people who were known throughout the community. So I kind of put that in my pocket, learned a few things from it, heard a few things from people from Austin and the impact that it had had. So I knew it was beyond just like, I'd had Ali Khan from Good Eats on the Food Network, just people like that.
Okay.
Few years later, so I have been a marketer for almost 30 years. I've been a digital marketer since 2002, and 2003, I started working with attorneys. So originally in marketing, I was making $300-400 an ad, right? You sell an ad in this magazine or this poster or whatever. And I started selling attorneys, and it's like $5,000 a month. And I was like, okay, I like these people.
Yeah.
Not just because of what they were spending, but what I learned with attorneys was they're conditioned primarily to discuss and to respect logic. And so if you can go to an attorney and say, yeah, but have you thought about this and this and what about, and they'll be like, you're right. Okay. And I really like that because I'd grown up with an aversion to sales, although it seems to be very natural for me. But I didn't like the concept of using sales tactics. If I can bring you 3 new customers a month, how would that change your life? Oh, would you like the bill sent to your mansion or your yacht? Just all that sort of like slimy sales mentality. And with attorneys, never had to do it. So
Yeah.
I've had SEO agencies with attorneys, social agencies, text agencies, branding agencies. When you've done this long enough, you've tried a little bit of everything, right?
Yeah.
A company I had when I lived in Tulsa, I called it Kitchen Sink Inc. because we did everything but the kitchen sink. So me and my partner, I'd been a part of an SEO company for about 5 years. And my partner bought me out at the end of December 2023. I was set to get married in April of 2024. Not really fortuitous timing, but I'm an entrepreneur. I have a book that has about 50 to 100 sort of business ideas, but at any given time, I probably have 20 to 30 actionable business ideas to
Wow.
where you take everything away from me, give me a laptop and an internet connection, and
Start
within a
over.
few days to a week,
Yeah.
I'm starting over and progressing back in life.
Yep.
So that's what I did. I started the Legal Podcast Network, officially launched it May 1st, 2024,
Okay.
myself and my VA. Here we are a little over a year later. We have approaching 40 people on my team. We have roughly about 150 clients. We have 3 or 4 big projects. I mean, it's
That's
just been a
amazing.
whirlwind in 1 year.
Wow.
So the answer to how did I get here? Not quite sure, but for the most part, followed the money,
Yeah.
followed the personality type,
Yeah.
and now I'm here today.
Wow. You are driven, and the entrepreneurial streak, that the blood of the entrepreneur, it runs all through you because like you said, you can take something and just start from scratch, even if everything's taken from you. And that's the heart of a true entrepreneur, is to be able to start over. And I just
Yeah.
love that you have these ideas and you just go for it. And it's only been 1 year. So that's amazing that you've grown the Legal Podcast Network that quickly. So I just wanted to
From
say
what
hats off
I
to you
can
for that.
tell, from what I can see, and don't quote me on this, but I know who my 2 or 3 other quote unquote competitors are, and they've been in the space for a while.
Mhm.
One, they all cost 7 to 10 times what I cost because
Wow.
I've just figured out a way to deliver more at a much lower cost.
Wow.
But beyond that, like one of them is under the American Bar Association. We already are a bigger network in regards to shows and all connections and everything than any other legal network out there. Now, if somebody comes and shows me tomorrow that they've got 200 shows and da 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 da, I will publicly apologize and send out the video, and you can send it to all of your people if you want to. But from my research, in 1 year, we've gone from who are they to who aren't they.
That is amazing. That's amazing. And it just speaks volumes to not only you're kind of the mastermind behind all of this, but you're able to choose the right people to join your team and to work with you on this. So it's a massive
Team is everything.
yeah,
Team is everything. Jordan didn't win until they put the right pieces around him.
there you
And,
go.
as great as LeBron was, he didn't win until he had the right pieces. Now, maybe
Yeah,
they weren't the same pieces put around Jordan, whatever. And we
yeah,
could take that into any sport or any sort of like activity. The
right.
reality is, no one wins alone. We all win as a part of a team. And I have been extremely fortunate. I built a remote only company. I have people from California to the Philippines and literally everywhere in between.
Yeah.
And I'm talking about going east, not west, because that wouldn't be very many people. So, but we've got people all over the world. And what's more important than anything else is how many of them are so bought into what we're doing.
Yeah.
They live, eat, breathe. They're excited to be a part of something.
Amazing.
And, somebody comes in that isn't a fit, I know it right away because my team's going,
Hmm.
so and so. I'm just like, okay, is it their personality or is it their work ethic? Because
Hmm.
personalities, we can learn to work together. Work ethic
Right.
and moral compass, if it's that, then okay, we'll deal with it.
Right, right, exactly. So you just mentioned something remote. You said that you have been working with people all over the world. And so I'd love to know a
Mhm.
little bit more about that because I mean I work remotely as well, but like this is the thing that everyone's looking at. How can we establish our business not just locally, but worldwide? And you're able to build those connections all over. So tell us a little bit about how that works for you and your process.
So for me, in building a team, again, I'm very fortunate. I had like when me and my partner split up, like a month later, this guy calls me or gets a hold of me from Pakistan, and he's like, "You don't know me, but I've actually been the director of all of your work for like the last 3 or 4 years. And the moment I found out you were gone, I started just waiting to where I could work with you." And so I had probably 4 or 5 people come over with me, or groups of people come over with me. So I was pretty fortunate with that. But when you talk about remote work, I think there's a few things that businesses don't quite think about. And the first one is culture. So I've had a lot of Filipino or Filipina VAs. But do you know I lost my first 5 VAs and I got ghosted by them?
Wow.
Not because Filipinos are awful people, but because I'm a very plain, plain spoken, get business done. Yes, no, do this, do that. When I'm in business mode, I'm just like, this is what I'm doing. Get it done. What's your question? Okay, yes, go now. Next, that's just how I am.
Very straightforward. Yeah.
And that works for the majority of people. They appreciate that. But to a Filipino who is very, as a culture, so I'm not stereotyping every one of them, but overall as a culture, there is a strong aversion to any sort of friction.
Okay.
And so every time I would just be like, no, just get that done, take care of that, move on. And then we could just all of a sudden they were gone. So I had to learn to work with Filipino people. Now I have one VA. She's been with me 5 years. And, I have to learn to just be like, hey, do you mind? And what do you think? And just basically put that nice filter that I'd like to think it's there anyway. But like in business, when I'm in business mode, that nice filter just kind of fades off and it's just all about.
Yeah.
Same thing. I've got a team of almost 20 people in Pakistan. We just did a company-wide incentive where I basically said, listen, guys, if we can reach X as a company, this is what's going to require from everybody. If we reach it, I'm going to give 3 cash prizes out, and, everybody in the world's eligible for them. It's not just the Americans and the salespeople. Matter of fact, my salespeople weren't in it. My directors weren't in it. A lot of my American-based people weren't even eligible for it.
Wow.
And I have one U.S. person wins a few $100s. One person in the Philippines wins a few $100s. And both of them were like, oh, this is awesome. I can do this. I can do that. I'm going to go buy this. I'm like, oh, great. Congratulations. A guy in Pakistan wins the biggest prize, $500. So I say to my team leader over there, I'm like, hey, Saad, I was like, what's he going to do? Like, is he going to because for $500, you could build an addition on your house in a place like Pakistan. Like, that's not light money.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm like, what is he doing? And he's like, oh, we're having a big party. He's taking the money and he's sharing it on the team because we all want it together in our mind. So we're having a big dinner that we're having brought in and spending the evening together. That is cultural. So what do I do with that? From now on, I don't go, hey, Pakistan team in Pakistan, you guys are going to it's a tournament and Joe, you're against Steve and whoever wins is the champion. They're going to be like, what? I don't want to be the champion.
Right.
I want to be on the winning team. I don't want to be the World Wrestling Federation heavyweight champion.
Yeah.
So understanding the culture of those that you want to work with, I think is the biggest lesson. I've been working remote since the early 2000s. I started a company and I moved to Romania and I ran my company from Romania off of calling cards and dial-up internet.
Wow.
So I've been doing remote for a very, very long time.
Right.
I'd say the second key in building a remote company is finding a way to make them feel connected. For example, we don't use Slack, any of those. I actually built my own Discord server. It's a lot more fun. Gamers use it. It's just a lot more interactive, silly. And, we do a lot of that in there. We have fun. We tease each other. I've got a young man in South Africa, and I'm always teasing him like, oh, you're not nearly as good looking as you think you are. And he's like, well, I'm not 48. And, just having like camaraderie that you would around the office,
Right.
but being the one that you have to push that culture for a few months, but then another person catches on, then and then all of a sudden that culture exists and I stepped outside of it. And yet there's still this camaraderie and back and forth and fun and cheering each other on and celebrating team wins.
Mm.
And so again, it's all things like that for me make the biggest difference in having a remote company or
Yeah.
having a remote culture.
Right.
And what I seek to do is create a remote culture, knowing that the remote company will take care of itself.
Absolutely. I love that. So the whole thing with podcasting and what you're saying about building companies remotely is the communication. I think, and we'll get to that in a moment about how podcasting helps with communication, but I think having a remote company and building one like you have helps us to, like you said, put on those filters where we need to, because we're going cross-cultural. And so I think it's amazing that you are connected with so many people from all over the world, and you're able to just figure out how to build community online with your team. And I like that you're using Discord. That's so cool, to create kind of that office vibe. So very, very, very cool. And then you created the Legal Podcast Network for attorneys. So I wanted to ask you, how has the Legal Podcast Network been instrumental in helping lawyers and attorneys to use podcasting as their kind of their basis for authority, like to build authority in their field? Because there's so many different ways to build authority online, but podcasting is one extra way to do that. And so what made you hone in on podcasting versus maybe you could focus on branding, marketing, keyword strategy, all these other things, but why podcasting?
Let's talk about my client archetype. It's an attorney. What is the innate ability of an attorney stereotypically? What do we know all attorneys are known for? When you have that little kid and they just argue and talk and argue, and we say, well, you're going to grow up to be a lawyer. Why are we saying that? Because they can talk, right?
They make sense of a situation, and
but they're not afraid to communicate.
Exactly.
And typically attorneys, all we're doing is harnessing their innate ability to reflect who they are online, offline. Because what's happened to attorneys, especially those who have aged out a little bit, I'm like Zennial, but late 40s, 50s, 60s, some even into their 70s, they've completely aged out of the ability to market.
Yeah.
They can't buy Yellow Pages ads and newspaper ads. And sure, they can throw PPC at some guy, across whatever, but they're just guessing. What we're doing is we're saying, okay, you've got 15 criminal defense attorneys in your market. What sets you apart? Not your website. It's a I do that too website. Not your background. They all went to school and law school, and they all won a mock trial 13 years ago. And so what is your point of differentiation?
Yeah.
It's what happens here.
Yep.
So what we're trying to do is give them a frictionless vehicle to express their expertise in a way that not only creates a great piece of evergreen content like a podcast, but we have created a whole ecosystem of marketing around the podcast. For example, so our clients can do once a month, twice a month, or weekly, or what we say 4 times a month. Each show is about 17 to 21 minutes. These aren't meandering podcasts where we're just chatting about this and, oh, did you see the game? These are pointed, authoritative positioning podcasts where we've identified their ideal client profile. So instead of, I'm a divorce attorney, no, who's your ideal client? Well, I want a high asset divorce for a business owner who has custody issues. That's where I really thrive and make my money. Okay. So we have someone on my team. She's done content for attorneys for well over 10 years, interviewed over 1,000 law firms for content purposes. So we create a content plan, and in each podcast session of about 20 minutes, we're going to ask them 7 to 10 questions. We actually provide the host. We provide the producer. They just put their camera, they can sit at their desk, you put a decent mic in front of them. And then it's just like, Joe, good to have you back. And it's the Joe Johnson, law firm podcast. It's branded
Right.
towards them. Our person is just a co-host. And on the very end, it says produced by the Legal Podcast Network.
Very
So it
cool.
is a bespoke, custom podcast for them that's designed to show them as an expert for their client archetype. So
Good.
now they sit there, they answer 7 to 10 questions. We take that recording, we create a podcast video, we create 10 to 12 shorts, we create 10 audiograms, we create 10 static posts, we create 2 to 3 pages of website content, and we do all of this with 30 minutes of their time. We're
Yep.
literally posting, if they're doing just one show, 30 minutes of their time, one show a month,
Yeah.
we're doing a complete month's worth of marketing that is custom and authoritative.
Wow.
The other advantage is we just entered into the AI language learning models, GEO, and it is all query-based content. So no longer do you want to be clicked on, you want to be cited in the top of these Claude and Chat GPT and whatever else.
Right.
Because when you see those answers, they all have little dots next to them. You click on that dot and it says, this came from so-and-so's podcast, or this came from so-and-so's website. So when people want to know more, now they're being cited. And now we're future-proofing their marketing by giving the algorithms what they need, which is more custom content from humans in structured thinking processes. We're giving them that, but not only are we future-proofing, we're also present-proofing because we're using YouTube. Who owns YouTube? Google. So if I answer a question on YouTube and 80% of people would rather watch a video than read an article, and Google knows that, so guess what? Now we're scaling on Google. We're scaling on the LLM models.
Right.
We're putting out social media each and every day. We're putting more content on their website. And it's all from them giving us a half hour of their time and then us harnessing that and then multiplying it across all the platforms.
What you just said, multiplying. You took a half hour of content and you put your customer, your client, in all the spaces they could possibly need to be to grow their business, right? And so I love that when you're talking about ecosystems, that this whole thing works together, that podcasting is a part, like a spoke in the wheel, and there's so many different pieces, but you're using all the content pieces, and that is awesome. 10 pieces of, did you say shorts, and just
10 shorts, 10 audiograms, 10 reels. So when you do a 30-minute, you have a post every day. We have up to 10 outlets, not just like Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, but Blue Sky, Twitter X, Twitch, Pinterest, Threads.
That's everything.
There's 10 outlets. And so every single day, we take on all those 10 outlets and we stack the content differently. So if you see it on Instagram, you won't see the same thing on TikTok.
Right.
And we scale that across and we do a month's worth. So what I tell people is, think about this a year ago. And remember I said we're AI forward. So a year ago, we created the podcast and we did 3 pieces of content. One to go out before the show, one to go out around the same time, and one to go out after. We did that on up to 5 outlets, which means for every one show, there was up to 15 actions done to promote that.
Wow.
We now have one show, 30 days of content with 10 places. So we've gone from 15 actions to 30 actions in 1 year with the same piece of content. Just getting better with it. And we use a lot of internal QA, human eyes. It's not just, I don't just have like 2 guys in Pakistan just like throwing out a bunch of crappy videos. Like we have a 3-step QA process with what the main process of it is US-based eyes, because they're going to notice things like English-wise and just phraseology and things that most people wouldn't, because they're just not from our country. So we put in all these processes as well to make sure that it's not just this like cheap generated sort of like, oh, I got it. It actually, it looks brands. We do all their branding, you know, all their logos, their colors, everything.
You're a
So
full
it's,
agency.
yeah, we're essentially an agency disguised as a podcasting network.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Yeah, I see that. I see that. So you guys are like you do everything. And so I love that when your client comes to you, they just know they can be taken care of. Like they're gonna have it all done. And the thing that stands out to me right now is the consistency of we're gonna take your message. We're going to take these 30 minutes. You don't have to do much. Just show up with your content. We've got you covered. We got your video. We've got the person who's
They
interviewing
don't
you.
even have to show up with their content. We
Oh,
send them
wow.
the questions at least a week ahead of time.
That's
So they just have to show up and answer questions that they usually answer 2, 3 times a week anyway.
that's amazing. That is amazing. And then from there, they're just all over. They're all over the place. Pinterest and everywhere. All the socials.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're in all the
Because
socials.
I am outlet agnostic, right? At the end of the day, everyone's like, "Oh, my clients aren't on Pinterest." And then I'm like, "Are you on Pinterest?" No. How do you know your clients aren't on
Mhm.
Pinterest? Well, Pinterest is for this.
Yeah.
Okay. What if only 10% of the people on Pinterest might be your client?
Wow.
But if you think about this, and I love to talk about the concept of digital languages.
Uh-huh.
And the easiest way for me to explain it is this. We probably all have that one friend where if we text them, we might as well be texting the president. We're not hearing back, right? But then you like inbox them in TikTok or Facebook or whatever, and 3 seconds later, like, oh, hey, what's going on? And you're like, I just text you every day for 18 months straight and you acted like I was dead. I hit you up in the inbox in Facebook one time and I'm the long lost friend. Where have I been? But that's how most people are. LinkedIn people are LinkedIn people. Facebook people are Facebook people. They might have the other stuff,
Mm-hmm.
right? But they live typically in one or two outlets.
Yeah.
And so what I tell my clients is there are people living in these outlets that if you don't reach into them, they will never know you exist to help them.
That's true.
And so that's why we do that. It's like Twitch channels.
Yeah.
I had one that said, why would I want a Twitch channel? What if you got a client out of it? You know, I
Right.
used to have this phrase I used to say back in the day, especially in paper days, say, let me ask you a question. Do you really care where your client comes from? What if we took and we printed toilet paper with your ad on it and we replaced all of the public restroom toilet papers in the city with your ad? If you got 5 clients from people wiping their back end with your ad, would you turn them away? No.
No, they're clients, they're customers.
So why
Right.
do you care if it's Twitch or LinkedIn or
Right.
TikTok or whatever? If you can get a client there, get a client there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And with the way everything is connected and, you know, we use Metricool, it's literally just like we do all of our clients, like I have one person, she spends an entire week, it's this week here, where she, from top to bottom, all of our clients does all of their content for the whole month.
Yeah. That's so helpful. That batch content recording and getting everything done on the front end. Love that you're using Metricals. Makes everything easy too for just
Yep.
getting everything in the system. But yeah, you're so right. Having your presence everywhere, like you won't miss a potential client if you have a presence there. I know I'm thinking about all the things now that I know we need to be doing to get
You're
our
like,
presence somewhere else
get us
other
on
than
Pinterest. Where's our Twitch channel?
Right. And so there's so much to learn here in this space, but I wanted to ask you about mindset because I think that's a really huge part of getting out there. And it's not just about our voice being heard, but it's about how are we wired to think about putting our stuff out there for people to know that we're available to help them. So have you had any sort of friction with maybe your current clients or clients that you're onboarding or talking to them about your services? And then like how have you helped their mindset shift?
So the issue isn't always the mindset, it's more the familiarity with technology.
Okay. I see.
And we just fired a client yesterday. New guy, tried to do his onboarding, didn't know how to turn on his camera. started cussing out my team,
Oh,
started telling them that they're idiots because he doesn't know how to use a computer. So it's like, okay, you can shut it down. Let's try him in a week. Maybe he had a bad day. Come back, same thing. I said, write him his letter, give him his initial money back. We don't have room for somebody like that.
right.
So I'm not here to change people's minds. I'm here to empower people that already understand the value and what I can help them with.
There you go.
Now, that being said, are there times where I have to take a client and help them shift their mind a little bit? One of the biggest mind shifts we have to help our clients with, and this can kind of go, mindset is they think, okay, I'll make a podcast. So like, I'm going to be Joe Rogan in like 3 months and I'll make like, how much is it? $100 million. And, oh, you're going to put me on YouTube too. So I'll be like Mr. Beast and make another 12 million a year. And then, I'm on Apple. I heard somebody makes a couple $100,000 a year. So, wow. Yeah, I'd love to do your program. It's going to make me $14 billion a year by just putting out my stuff. And it's like, hold up.
Right.
Like, first of all, if you think the success you see is this like any other profession in the world. That's like literally being like, hand me a basketball, I'm Jordan. Like, they took years and mistakes and millions of dollars to get to the point that they're at, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yet people will be like, okay, I'll do 4 podcasts. And if I don't get 12 clients and make a 10x ROI, then I'm done. And I'm like, then don't work with us, because you know what's going to happen during the first 4 months. Your friends, your family, your peripheral people, maybe some like clients that were almost clients that kind of faded away, but they're still watching you from afar. So you might get a client or two during the first 4 months.
Mm-hmm.
But this isn't about what happens during 4 months. This is about what happens 5, 6, 7, 8. Now, all of a sudden, they're calling me and they're like, I just had somebody call me off of ChatGPT. I just had 3 people this week who've watched my podcast and they're my clients. So they don't understand the importance of the cumulative effect of showing up when it comes to something like this.
Yes.
And so I use this illustration. Which one is more of value to you, Mr. or Miss Attorney? Number 1, we're going to produce a video and it's going to get 1 million hits. So you went viral. Do you know how much YouTube gives you when you get 1 million hits on YouTube? $1,000. So you made $1,000. Option 1. Option 2. 50 people in your market watched your show. 10 of them called you, 6 of them hired you. Average fee was $20,000. So you just made $120,000, but you only had 50 viewers. Now you tell me, which of those would you choose?
Right. See, obviously,
and when exactly, when that mindset shifts and they understand this isn't about being the next Mr. Beast or whatever viral sensation, but about using this. We live in an age of free media, but it's not free. It's what I call earned media. Yeah. It used to be you buy eyeballs. You can't buy eyeballs anymore. You earn eyeballs.
Earn them. That's right.
And so by taking advantage of all the mechanisms in a way that you need to do it, in my opinion, 2 ways. Well, 3. Number 1, it's got to be meaty. It's got to be some good stuff.
Yeah.
Can't just stand there. And now if you want a niche show, talk about troll dolls. Other people love troll dolls. They'll watch it, whatever. But it's got to be meaty. Mm-hmm. Number 2, though, it needs to have some sort of production value. I think we talked about that earlier. Just the fact of like, or I've referenced this often. So maybe I didn't in this show. And just stop me if I've said this before. But like 16-year-olds are running around with 3 camera crews. Yeah. And you're a $12 million a year PI office and you can't bother to take your iPhone more than your iPhone out and talk. Like, you're being outproduced by children and you expect to be treated more seriously than they're being treated on these outlets.
Right.
So up your production level, and we can try to help you with that. And obviously that's what we're here to do. Mm-hmm. So production value, but the future, in my opinion, and this has been every entertainment venue from the beginning of time. First movie, silent, black and white, organ player in the background. Entertainment value on today's scale is probably about a 2, right?
Right.
Now you got an IMAX. I saw the other day in Austin, they created like a 5X theater, completely surrounds you, and it's got it like
Like an IMAX
smells
theater.
and water, and I don't know. It's crazy,
Amazing.
right? And you're watching a movie at the same time. Think about the entertainment value, and it's the same venue. Podcasting is not a new venue, but it's a venue that has accepted content is more important than entertainment value and production value. Right. So we've got to be willing to up our production value. And then as we up our production value, in my opinion, evolution continues to happen, as it's happened in every other venue, then the entertainment value has to go up. No longer will it be enough to say, hey, I got 3 juicy steaks sitting here, pick one. They want to know, okay, well, what are you going to season it? And is it going to come out medium rare? Is it going to come out I want to know the seasoning. I want to know, even if all 3 steaks look exactly the same, the decision's based on the seasoning and the way that you cook it. Yeah. And so now we're all running to podcasting to put, some good meat out there for people. And yet we're not the only one doing it. So now we up our production value. Now they up their production value. So now is where real creativity comes in, and that's where entertainment value comes in. For example, I told you I just shot my first episode. We came up with this show. We've got 2 shows in production, but the one is our company show. It's called BAM, Building Authority Through Media. And it's a 70s and 80s superhero cartoon style podcast where in YouTube, you'll actually see the 2 characters, Bam Man, that's me, and then I have a dynamic duo, whoever my guest is, and we figure out their title, and we create these like superheroes, and then they talk and fight things. It's not a full it's not a full cartoon yet, but it's it's got B-roll and it's entertaining. And so we're creating this, and hopefully one day we'll be able to feed it into the AI engine and say, create a 20-minute cartoon out of this. Wow. And so production value is step 2. Entertainment value is step 3. Most people are stuck on step 1, which is providing quality content. Oh, man. But that won't last forever.
Wow. So that's something we have to look forward to as podcasters, to start thinking about the value of our production, start thinking about, how to make things just a little bit better, and just what we can do, right? And so maybe we don't have the huge team just yet, but maybe one day we're thinking of going in that direction of hiring someone to help us do all of these things. But I mean, there are little things we can do to make the quality of our podcast better. And
absolutely,
and so I love that. And then entertainment too. Like, people come to our shows because they want something valuable out of it, and it makes them feel good. Like, how do we make people feel good? It's just what you were saying about the IMAX theater, right? It's the smells, and the sounds, and the visuals. Everything makes an experience. And so I think that's an important part of podcasting that just often gets overlooked because we're so busy talking about the tools and the content. So,
well, as we have more and more people come into the space, we're going to have to do these things to differentiate ourselves.
Right.
Because imagine if every show on Netflix was Oprah Winfrey, Phil Donahue, and I'm just trying, I don't even know who has talked, Ricky Lay, Geraldo. Do you know who these people are?
I remember all of these people.
Okay, good. So, right. So we're just like, if that was our own, like talk shows was our only option, after a while, we just like, yeah, I'm done with it. But yet podcasters are like, I'm going to sit at a desk, I'm going to put something shiny behind me, and I'm going to talk for an hour and a half about whatever. And it's like, okay, you're cutting it now, but give it a year or two, especially with the integration of AI. Everyone was doing the baby thing where they were the baby podcasters, which was nice. It was kind of a set it and forget it. Right now with AI, we're in that. Remember when we all first started getting apps on our iPhones and we were like shooting people with pretend guns because it was so funny? One that I didn't put on, but many people found funny, was the one that passed gas and just the silliest little, you remember all those silly, dumb apps?
Right.
And like, that's kind of where we are with AI right now.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, look, it can do this. And people are like, I'm a baby doing a podcast. And it's like, so is like 800,000 other people now because they've released it.
Yeah.
Once we kind of jump over that and we really start to see the opportunity that we can create with podcasts, whether it is through, animation, whether it's through whether it's just us sitting here and things happening in the background. Like I could actually create a show because this is just a 75-inch TV behind me. I could actually just create a show where as I'm talking, it's doing the different things and I'm acting it. And that doesn't cost AI.
Right.
So, but that's what I'm saying. There's so many ways to be creative.
Yeah.
And people want to be entertained. Why is it that right now, amongst all of history, stand-up comedy is in its golden age, in my opinion? It's because people want entertainment, connection, and authenticity.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when you combine those things, it makes it a much more palatable experience.
Exactly. Authenticity. And they want to feel like they connect. And when they find that favorite comedian that they're connecting with, that's their jam every night.
Exactly.
They find this comedian.
What does everybody laugh at? They laugh at that part in the show where they go, "Oh,
that's me." Yeah.
Right? Exactly. Like that's the part of the show that everybody dies.
Right.
And when we can start creating not that exact experience, but those types of experiences within our podcasts, now people stop going, that's interesting, that's interesting, that's interesting. And they go, oh, yeah, charity. Like that's where we're headed.
Right, right.
IMHO.
Well, that leads me to ask you about the future of podcasting and how do you believe, let's say there's a new podcaster listening right now. What should they be working on? What advice do you give them concerning how to move toward where the future of podcasting is headed? So there's so many things they can focus on, but what would be your main things that you would tell them? Okay, look at this, do this, and you should be fine for the next 5 years out.
I don't think there's an easy answer to that, especially with what's happening with AI.
That's true.
What I would tell a new podcaster is start very simple, start very pointed, and then build your tools and your mechanisms and your catchphrases. Like I've got a freaking Stream Deck I bought like 4 months ago. I don't even know how to plug it in. And I'm supposed to be able to be like, ha, 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 and all that stuff that Stream Decks do, right? But it's not even plugged in. I don't even know what I'm doing with it, right? And I think that's the danger for new podcasters. I need a Stream Deck. I need a DSLR camera. I need a double light kit. I need a $4,000, TV behind me. Oh, I need so that I have a stand-up desk. I put it 45 inches so that everything's accessible to me. But, I spent roughly in the last 6 months about $7,000 in this room to elevate what I'm doing. But that isn't where you have to start.
Exactly.
Where you have to start is just keeping it simple, make the show you, and then add the dressing and the, costumes or whatever it is. Yeah. Another show I'm doing. I'll give you a little sneak preview. You want a sneak preview of my next show? Welcome to the Temple of Enthusiasm, where we gather those across the lands who are passionate about very specific things, allowing them to share their passions, their enthusiasm, their, if you will, their religion with you. And it's very simply a show where I'm going to source people. I don't care if it's a 97-year-old woman who's crocheted for 90 years and she's the foremost expert on crocheting and she loves it. I'm going to be like kind of my goal. I'm trying to be like the priest of it, like the wizard of this show to invite people in, and I'll have a different background and all that fun stuff.
Wow, that's so cool.
But you bring people in, you let them talk about it, you make it visual. You're like, okay, what do you, and then you put the stuff in the background for them or for me or in post-production. Yeah. And so again, it's all about just finding ways to be creative, to
Yeah.
tell a story, to invite people into where you are for that moment.
Yeah.
And that's what podcasting's
That's,
about.
that's what
It
it is,
can
making
be
connections. Yeah.
it can be dry,
Hmm.
but and for some they want dry, but for some they need more than that. They want to be entertained. They want to feel like they're going on a journey. They want to learn things they never would have learned.
Yeah.
And so these are all the things. But yeah, at the end of the day, if I'm just starting, I'm just focusing on me.
Yeah.
I'm just focusing on my personality. I'm just focusing on what I'm passionate about. I'm just focusing on bringing in guests that we bounce off each other to where we raise our level of enthusiasm and excitement to where the show, people just walk away and are just like, that was a podcast? I
Very-
think that that's where we need to get just as a whole
yeah.
across the board.
I think so too. Storytelling and making connections. And for those who are just listening, you should check this out on YouTube. You get to see DM's cloak and everything. Just the whole visual was awesome. So
I got that for
I love that.
$7 from a street vendor in Thailand.
Oh, it's so cool. No, I love that because that's again, I'm all about just paving this path of podcasting is free. It's a freeing experience is what I mean. It doesn't have to look a certain way. You're free to do it the way you want. You're free to experience podcasting the way you want. And producing looks different for everyone. So
Right.
I love that. I love that. And then, okay, so you work with attorneys, but do you also work with other entrepreneurs
So,
outside of attorneys?
yes, I mean, I have people reach out to me. Lawyers are my niche.
Hmm.
However, I've worked with every type of, really, I try to stay in the white collar. Nothing against blue collar. I just hate waiting for them to get their paycheck so I can get my paycheck. And then if I miss them by 2 days, I don't make my paycheck. And I stopped doing that about 15 years ago.
Hmm.
And I'm not saying all contractors are that way. I'm just saying I had that happen to me enough times to where I've decided that's not the way I want to run business.
Hmm.
So, but I own the URL, the Professional Podcast Network and the Medical Podcast Network. My goal is this fall to launch probably the Professional Podcast Network and next spring launch another one. We're just working on, we've got 5 divisions. 3 of them are pretty much sufficient, run by directors. Everything's handled internally. 2 of them, I still have a lot of like client experience and sales.
Hmm.
I'm still have to have a lot of hands-on experience. I don't have directors there yet. I don't. So once I get my hands off of those, then we're going to start building out the
Wow.
new networks and doing
Yeah.
more.
Oh, that's amazing. That's amazing.
7 years, 12 to $15 million a year, 2,500 clients.
Wow.
That is what I have declared this will be.
Wow. I love that. Well, I wish you much luck and success in all your endeavors. You're already doing so great. I know it's just going to be a wonderful thing to have all of these networks. You have the Professional Podcast Network coming up really soon, right? Or is it in the works right
Mhm.
now? And so,
Yeah, hopefully we'll launch this fall. Like I said, once we get some internal systems.
okay. So let's see. How can our listeners find out more about what you offer and connect with you if they are interested in just working with you?
So if you go to YouTube and just type in the Legal Podcast Network, you'll see testimonials, client videos, shorts, and you'll see not quite every because they update it once a week, but 20 something podcasts that I've been on. We throw those up there to make me look like I'm this big expert. Um, I say that because it's like I'm just a dude who just learned some stuff that other people didn't know, and now I'm telling it to them. All an expert is somebody that knows something that you don't, right?
True.
So,
Yep.
like, I
So you're
take
an
no
expert.
pride. I take no pride in that terminology. So, LinkedIn, Dennis Meador. That's where you're going to really be able to see like my writings, a lot of my videos. It's more of me being my professional self to the world. So LinkedIn and then our normal website, thelegalpodcastnetwork.com. And
Okay.
so any one of those 3 areas, and I'm sure you'll have them in whatever comments
Yep.
this is in,
Mhm.
feel free to reach out. And it happens all the time. Hey, watched your podcast. Love to connect with you. I'm not going to be your customer. Is that okay? Yeah, of course. So sometimes I say, I want to be your customer. I like that a little better. I'm not going to lie. But for the most part, hey, I'm here. If I can be of help to you, more than happy to do so. And, a lot of content out there, my life, different business philosophies, all kinds of stuff. And I know everybody's dying to watch 25 podcasts of me. So that's why they're all in one place, because otherwise, why would they be there?
DM, you are awesome. Thank you so much. I mean, you've really brought a lot of perspective to podcasting, things that I had been toying with, but hadn't really thought about, really hadn't sat down and thought about the different ways to look at podcasting, not just from the static, but using the visuals and the audio and everything. So you really shine some light on things for me to think about. And I know our audience is thinking the same thing, wow, this is a really neat way to think about podcasting in the future. And so I thank you for coming on the show today and for being part of Soul Podcasting.
Absolutely. Can I say one more thing?
Yes, please.
Don't build for the future. Build now for the future.
Yeah.
So if you can start doing this stuff now, then you're not just another also. You're an originator. Who does better in the end, right?
Love that. Yeah. Yeah.
So I'll leave it with that. I could spit 1,000 of those, and at least half of them would make sense. So we'll stop.
I love it. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you.